was wondering why I'm going 40 kilometers an hour with almost no throttle. But there's a powerful tailwind. You know, this is just a beautiful old church. I'll have to do a little homework on it. It's the onlyest church in QUER. I am using my dropper Z-post a little. It's been particularly hot pretty much everywhere in the Mediterranean. Not only in the Mediterranean, I think it was 35 in London, which is unbelievable for them, because when it gets to high 20s, 28 degrees, all the Londoners start melting. To complement the new suspension dropper seat post, I did buy a air fork with 120 millimeters travel, which should be 20 millimeters more than what I have. But considering I only use about 60 of this, the main feature of the longer stanchions will be giving me a little bit more relaxed head tube angle. Now that probably won't make much difference on the hill climb, but it should help on the downhill. Too much fork, too relaxed of a head tube, and when you're climbing, your front wheel keeps coming off the ground. Even on my gravel bike, which, well, mostly because it was light, when I was climbing very steep hills, my biggest problem was keeping enough weight on the front wheel to keep it planted. With this bike, doing exactly the same rides, I never had that problem. A little bit, but not as much as with the gravel bike, which is weird. So I'm not too worried about putting a little longer fork. I wouldn't go to 140, for example. That's too much, but 120 is 20% more, theoretically. It really isn't, because when you put your weight on it, on an air fork, it'll go down maybe 10 centimeters or so. There's a certain amount of sag. I need to look at what is the correct amount. Some people say 10%, some say 20. I think it depends on the bike, on the rider, how much pressure you're running. But I'll have to learn about that. I never had an air fork before. This one is a spring-loaded fork, and it theoretically has 100 millimeters worth of travel. And if you read about Suntour XMC forks, people say, well, I bottomed my fork out. Well, I can't imagine how. I've smashed into all sorts of potholes and things. I've never gotten more than 60% compression. Like right now, 40% maybe. Hit the brakes real hard, a little bit, you can feel it squishing. There's nothing wrong with Suntour spring forks. Well, some people say everything is wrong with them, but compared to the suspension fork I didn't have, this thing is wonderful. Regardless of what kind of suspension you have, some things are never going to feel good. At any rate, just to get going, I bought an inexpensive, lightweight air fork. I'll talk more about it later after I get it installed. This bike is set up for a 1 1/8 straight head tube fork, which is fine for touring and that kind of thing. However, by changing the headset cups, it's possible to use a tapered fork. And if I bought a tapered fork, I would also get a boost fork with a through axle. So this is 100 millimeter wide on the stanchions where it clips onto the wheel. The boost fork is 110. So it's a little bit wider, and then you'd have the through axle. For the kinds of things I do, it wouldn't matter. But if I'm going to spend the money, I might as well just invest in the only thing I need is an extra wheel. So I'll see how it goes with the new fork. If I like it, I'll keep it until it starts to show signs of wear. Then I'll upgrade to a tapered fork with a through axle. But like I say, for touring, for this type of riding, if you have a quick release, straight head tube, or tapered head tube with a through axle, I just don't think there's going to be a significant difference. And if you can feel it, you're better off. They're better than I am. I think I'm going to go into the village and get a cold drink. Stop recording.